Well, welcome to the channel of Life in Pictures. My name is Karen Mielke, and the title of today's picture is called You Are an Instrument. I used to work in the cardiology department at a hospital, and on occasion, I would be called to the operating room and do my test to determine the electrical activity of their heart on a patient that was undergoing surgery. Now, there are patients that need results immediately, and that's why I was called. It's called STAT, get there in a hurry. And when I would go, I would see very similar to what you would ever see in a movie or on television. Just people all over. And I looked on the table near the patient, and I could see just literally hundreds of instruments that a doctor would need to know was available, and that he could call on the nurse to give him whenever he needed that particular instrument during his surgery. Now I want you to imagine that you are in that room. The blue towel that has all of the sterilized pieces of equipment, instruments, are on a cart. And that blue towel is opened, and there's only one instrument there. And that instrument is you. The surgeon is God himself, and he picks you up with just great care. He's familiar with the patient. He knows exactly what that patient needs. Sometimes there is a large portion of the body, such as a bone, maybe a hip bone, maybe a knee bone, that needs to be removed. And so what he does is that he picks up the proper instrument. And today, that instrument is you. And lo and behold, you turn into a mallet. It's an instrument that is used on a large part of the body to get the old out so that the doctor can put in a new piece. Now that instrument is big, and it's really quite powerful. But in the hands of the surgeon, he knows exactly what to do. Maybe that patient needs to hear some frank words from you, and they may seem harsh, but it's the only way that they will hear the truth. And so he puts those words in your mouth to speak to them. Another day, another patient comes in, and they're on the table. And again, there's another blue towel that's just come from the autoclave where it's been sterilized. And the towel is unfolded, and there you are again. But this time, you're not a big mallet. This time, you are an instrument that the surgeon needs to pick up to be used to bring sight back to a patient's eye. God knows exactly which each person needs. The only thing is that are we available? Are we surrendered to the great physician, the surgeon, that needs, he doesn't need, he desires and he chooses to use each one of us. He chooses to use you, no matter how the patient is requiring help and assistance. Have you ever said something to someone else, and you said, "Oh my goodness, where did that come? That was really quite wise. I never thought of that issue like that before." Just maybe God put the words in your mouth because you were available to say them, only to find out that the listener told you that it was exactly what they needed to hear. You know, I have never heard of a patient asking if they could see the instrument that the doctor used to perform the surgery so that they could thank them. That's That's just ridiculous. That never happens. We are the instruments in God's hands. And many times we will never know how effective we are in someone else's life. But God chose us. And today God is choosing you as you walk through this world. That if we are surrendered to Him, He's going to put words in your mouth. Maybe He'll put actions in your whole body. Maybe someone needs to hear something kind from you that God's put there. So as you leave this place where you are right now, remember that you are in God's hands. You are an instrument of His grace, His peace, His love. And who knows, someday, like the instrument would never be told how good they were today, someday you may need to wait until you hear the words from God Himself. Well done, my good and faithful servant. I picked you up so many times from that cart to use you in various ways that you didn't even know you were being used. But you were faithful to my hands. Thank you. Well, my dear friends, think about that today and think of yourself as an instrument, whichever kind God needs today. Bye for now.